News coming out of Beijing is that China, in its current meeting that they are having, planning for the next 5 years, they are also talking about social safety net programs. And that would often mean like social welfare and all of those things. I mean, if you look at the US, that is like housing assistance, food assistance programs like food stamps, social welfare, social security, and all these other things, Medicaid and Medicaid. And what I would say about that is that if China follows the West by introducing social entitlement programs, they can say goodbye to their high growth. Every single country in the world that began social entitlement programs has not been able to grow at a high growth rate sustainably. China can officially say goodbye to 6% growth, 7% growth if it goes down the path of social safety nets. That is all that there is to it. Once you go down that path, and it's often like a well intentioned program, but it just doesn't help the nation. What it does instead, it makes the nation less productive and it makes the people more entitled to government support. And how do you pay for these programs? You have to increase taxes. And then on average, your taxes are over 40%, 40%, 50%, and that's the end of growth. It's just basic economics. These social entitlement programs are a cost to economic growth. Something has to give because we know that low taxes is equal to high economic growth. High taxes, which is a requirement to have these social programs, equals to low economic growth. And so if China goes down that path, China will never be the biggest economy in the world. I can guarantee that. And that's not to say that I want China to be the biggest economy in the world. No, not necessarily. But I'm saying that if they do go down that path, they are guaranteed to not be the biggest economy in the world. These social welfare programs are a bad idea. They don't help people. And I can tell you now that the West has these social safety nets. Almost every nation in Europe have these social safety nets. But are Europeans happy? No, they are not. They are still complaining. They want more support from government. They want more entitlements. They want more. They just want more Big Brother. That's what they want. Is it lowering poverty? No, it's not. It's not. You still have poverty levels that are unacceptable in Europe, unemployment out of control in Europe, and even though these nations are taxing their people at 40%, 45%, they still want more government programs. And once you go down that social welfare program or social welfare state, people who do those things don't stop until you tax people at 55%, 60% rates. That's the inevitable end of these social programs. And then year after year, you have GDP growth of 1.5%, 2%. You never go past 2%, at most 2.5%. And for economy of the size of France, for instance, the United Kingdom, Germany, If your economy is not growing at 3%, 3.5%, then your economy is not growing fast enough. And none of these economies had grown at 3% or more in the past 20 years. And when you're looking at the United States of America, for instance, each time the United States of America has grown at 3% or more, it has had a Republican president who has cut taxes. But the problem that America is facing are two things. These social welfare programs are unaffordable. Military spending is also unaffordable. With the United States of America needs to do something about these two things. Social welfare programs, number one, and number two, military spending. There is absolutely no reason why the United States of America is spending $1 trillion a year in military spending. Absolutely no reason at all. At the most, the US should be spending $500 billion a year in military spending. Anything more than that can't be justifiable. It really can't. Is there any reason why the US is spending? Because you have to think of it this way. I'm saying that $500 billion a year, which is half what the US is spending right now. Because, okay, if you look at the top 10 countries according to military spending in the world, the number one country obviously is the United States, followed by China. And then number three, it's followed by Russia. With the United States of America spending $1 trillion a year and China spending 300 billion dollars a year and Russia spending $150 billion a year. Germany $88 billion a year, India $86 billion, United Kingdom $81 billion, Saudi $80 billion, Ukraine no, 64 billion. I don't believe that number. It's mostly because of the aid that they are getting from other countries. Okay. So even if you say that the US is spending $500 billion a year on military spending, it will still be spending more than China, which is the only thing that matters. It will still be spending more than China and Russia combined, because that's the only thing that matters. So even if you say, okay, spend more than Russia and China and India, if they are spending $500 billion a year, they are spending more than those countries. What I would say that at the very least, the United States of America needs to reduce its military spending to maybe $650 billion a year. This this $1 trillion, it doesn't make any sense. Going back to China, is that if China is spending $300 billion a year in military spending, and it starts with this social net whatever bullshit, it's basically going to follow the path of Europe. That's really what's going to happen. Because all of this military spending and social welfare, basically then your economy stops growing. Because you need to increase your income taxes in order to pay for all of these things. Because by their very nature, these things are not intrinsically productive. You need to borrow money to pay for them, even though, okay, I suppose people get employed through them, but this is not intrinsically creative industries. These are industries that are purely government created. And in order to create them, you need to increase taxes. And it's not a good idea. So whatever it is that China decides in the next, going to the next 5 years, becoming a social welfare state is not a good idea. Absolutely not a good idea. That is really what I would say about that. I hope that China doesn't go down this foolish path that Europe has gone, because it's going to be the end of their high growth. Cheers.